to the Gamer Library podcast again this month. I am with my co-host Ransic, and we are going to be discussing Final Fantasy job systems, just talking about them, going into the history, telling our favorite versions of them, and where we would like to see this job system in the future. I'm gonna let Ransic introduce himself yet again to you guys, so go ahead.
Hey guys, it's Ransic once again. How's everyone doing tonight? Oh man, I'm so excited. So excited.
Me too. This is going to be a great topic.
Definitely is. I can't wait. So yeah, let's do this. Go ahead.
Well, I was doing a little research before our podcast tonight, and you never really realize how much they've used this job system, even in the mainline Final Fantasies, until you start looking it up. And it's been there since Final Fantasy 1. As the first Final Fantasy, you had 6 job classes that you could venture your story in. Of course, you have the Thief, Bard, White Mage, Black Mage, and I believe Fighter. Yes, Fighter. Now, they did change their names slightly depending on what release you got, but that's the original NES. Do you remember what your favorite classes were in that first Final Fantasy?
I had to be Thief. Thief was really good, really fun. Very fast-paced fighter, and you know you have the steel ability, and it just reminds me of Zidane. So it goes back to 9.
Yeah. So did you play 9 first, or did you play one of the older ones first?
My first official Final Fantasy that I played was actually 8.
Nice.
Then I went backwards. I started playing the Super Nintendo versions, the Final Fantasy 2, and then I went to Final Fantasy 1.
That's interesting you went to 2 and then 1, because 2's not always well received.
Well, 2, I went to 2 because my younger brother back then was like, oh, why don't you just play this one? I got this Final Fantasy for you. I was like, oh, Final Fantasy 2 for Super Nintendo. Oh God, let's see how it looks like. And then I saw the little pixelated characters. I was like, wow, okay, I guess.
It's old school.
It's old school, yeah.
Yeah, I remember sneaking into my brother's bedroom, and he had like an original Nintendo, and just being able to pick those job classes. I would always go for like the fighter, the thief, a white mage, and a black mage, just because I like to get the magic in the game.
Yeah, magic's always good. You know, like black mage does a lot of damage, a lot of elemental damage, and everyone loves black mage, so it's a pretty common, really awesome job.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about the earlier job systems too is that based on your level is the type of magic you could purchase. They didn't really gain any skills with their classes. They would gain an ability to purchase the skills from vendors. So we saw a lot of that into Final Fantasy 3. The original 3, not 6. I want to clarify for the North American listeners. When I say Final Fantasy 3, I mean 3.
3,
not 6. Because
not 6 people.
Yeah, now Final Fantasy 6 did not have your job switching system. Final Fantasy 3, when I did, because I never played it, I was interested to see how many job classes were available. And there's 22 different job classes that I can find that you can switch to in 3.
Oh, but man, that's a lot of job classes.
It is, and they utilized the Onion Knight as your base class, which I always wondered where the Onion Knight came from. Like, you would see some stuff about him and be like, what's an Onion Knight?
That is interesting, because every time I think about him, like, what is an Onion Knight? It's not a warrior.
No. It's a plain class.
It's a plain class. Like, it must be like a weaker version of warrior. I have no idea, but it seems very interesting. When it was introduced, I'm like, oh, Onion Knight, okay, cool, awesome. You know, I could dig this. I mean, the name's kind of weird, but you know,
it's actually a freelancer class. It has no designated stats. Like, it's not based on a tank. It's not based on a DPS. It's just freelancing.
Interesting.
Yes, yeah, so that's what I found on the wiki, actually.
Oh wow. Onion Knight. They should bring that back.
They have. It's actually in Dissidia. He got introduced as a character that you can fight with. Like, you don't get to be the job class. You're just actually the Onion Knight from 3 in that fighter.
Wow, that's interesting. That's definitely interesting. I could see people using him in the city. I'm like, I'll attack you!
Well, and he's small and he's quick.
The only small one I would play was VV. I would be blasting people with fire magic.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because those are set classes, right? Like you never really got a job system in those games.
Yeah, we never did because 7, 8, and 9 really didn't have job like classes.
No.
You kind of could look at certain characters and be like, like Zidane's obviously a thief because he has thief skills.
Yeah,
but
they kind of based
it
on because they based those ones on that is their job. That's the only thing they can do. They didn't give you the versatility like they did in these ones. For Final Fantasy V, which is one of my favorite job class systems, you could learn almost all the job classes for each character, and there was a ton of them, and it actually introduced the AP system. So not only did your job class level up and learn new skills, and you didn't have to buy them anymore, but your character also got experience and gained better stats, so you got double whammy that you can play with.
Right. Interesting.
And I just really like the different job variations that they gave you in 5.
Right.
I can't remember how you gain them all, though. I think if it comes with as you progress through the game. It's been quite a long time. So, guys, leave comments below. If you've played 5, how do you gain job classes again? And what's your favorite job class in that Final Fantasy?
Right. Let us know, guys, because it's also amazing to see because the evolution of these job classes, switching classes and everything from those older games introduced her to the newer games. Like 10-2, for example.
For sure.
Like 10-2's dress sphere system is amazing. Like, oh my god, like how you could change jobs
in the middle of battle. Exactly. That was revolutionary, right? Like, you didn't have to wait till outside of the battle and gain experience for that. You could just change on the fly for what you need for the tactical thing of what you're battling. As long as you have it on your garment grid.
Yeah, as long as you have it on the garment grid, you see an enemy, you be like, okay, he's weak to black magic and Dark Knight, type of skills. I'm going to switch to Dark Knight. And Dark Knight was one of my favorite dress spheres.
Ransic, you're sounding a bit muffled.
Oh, do I? Okay,
yes.
Hold on. Okay.
There, that's
better.
Sound better. Oh, yes.
Okay. So, yeah, Dark Knight is amazing. It was pretty hard dress sphere to get, though.
Yes, because you got to get it under the Bavel Underground. And you could miss it if you don't take the right, they're little carts that you jump onto that take you to a different platform, and if you don't do the sequence right, you won't go to the part that has the Dark Knight.
Yeah, it was like that little corner, but when I got it, OMG.
It's very OP.
It's OP as hell. I was like killing things left and right, and it was a bloodbath.
I think my favorite job in 10-2 is a Psychic, because you could beat Tremel no problem. You just become invincible to physical and magical, and you just go to town.
Right. You just automatically decimate the whole field.
Yeah.
A lot of people like Samurai. I think Samurai is okay.
Yeah.
I don't like to throw my money away.
Yeah, it kind of took that Yojimbo kind of feel to it, didn't it?
Yeah, like Yojimbo is very awesome, Aeon, but I would not want to go and use my money for Yojimbo. I'm sorry, Yojimbo. I'd rather use the Magnet Sisters. I think the Magnet Sisters were awesome. And that was just, to me, it was a waste of money to use Yojimbo.
Yeah.
In that aspect. But yeah, like these dress sphere systems was amazing, and that introduced further on into the live action play online version.
Oh, right.
Which is actually Final Fantasy 11. Now,
which
11,
I never really got into. I'm more 14, but
yeah, you're 14. 11 is the same thing as 14. It's just like 14 is supposed to be the evolved form of 11.
Yes.
That's what people always say.
Well, it's the next version up, right? Like 11 was the sample, and then
yeah, exactly. 11 was the sample. The creators created it. they didn't thought it was gonna do well at first, and then they were like, okay, it's doing so well. It's like it earned its own fan base, and you basically, you get a character, you pick a job, and that's your standard beginning job, just like how Final Fantasy 1 and 2 were, I mean 1 and 3. How you could just pick one standard job and that's your job, and then later on you can unlock other jobs for you to to play with.
So you couldn't pick up a like in 14 we could pick up several little jobs or classes as they're called at the beginning. In the Realm Reborn you could pick up classes that later became jobs. As Heaven's Ward and Stormblood came out, they got rid of the classes and just stuck with the jobs. But,
right, which is kind of like better. Like it's like they fixed that little flaw.
Well, it's because you're so high level by then. Why start at a class level?
Right. It's like it's pointless because you're like, oh, okay, you want to go back to class level, then go back to job level.
Yeah, which is cool because they had that mechanic in Final Fantasy 1. They had class and job levels. You just couldn't find your job level until you found Bahamut, which was amazing. Right. Like just to think how they had that mechanic so far back at the beginning, just to see how much it's evolved all the way up to current generations of these games.
Right. And it's crazy to think about that, because you think about it and you be like, wow, I can't believe that these newer games, well, they're not new anymore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
that these newer games took inspiration from the older games, because that's how Final Fantasy should be. It should be like that. You take inspiration from older Final Fantasies and you incorporate it to a new one.
And then you just evolve it.
Evolve it, because you don't want to do the same thing over and over again, because, you bore your audience.
Well, Final Fantasy always wants to push that boundary of what can we do new and different, but still keep it a Final Fantasy, right?
Right. We want to keep it a Final Fantasy. That's why I was a little iffy with 15. Because 15... yes, it's brought those old elements of Final Fantasy, but it brought a brand new style of like futuristic. Oh, we're gonna use cars, and we're gonna have an open world map, and we're gonna be traveling with a car.
It was kind of the opposite of what 13 did, where it was very linear and then went open. This was very open and then went linear.
Right, and I'm like, okie dokie-ish. Like, I'm not really feeling it, but because I've seen the anime. Because I went to go see the movie in theater, I fell in love with the story of Final Fantasy 15.
Yes.
It was very... yes, the game was short because of DLCs. They started expanding, the game by using DLCs, which I am not, I'm old school, so I'm against DLCs.
But for what... this might be another topic for another podcast, but it's because of what happened with 15's development.
Right.
It would have been a full-fledged game if it had the full 10 years that it took to get the 4 years of development time that actually came out of it. Right?
Right. And this is the reason why. So you see all these aspects from 15, and you be like, OMG. I see some stuff from Final Fantasy 1 in here, Final Fantasy 3 in here, with all these different job classes.
They were kind of like there, but you never really got to use job classes in there. That's why I'm hoping when we get 16, we kind of...
when would that be?
Whenever 7 is done.
Whenever 7, 8, or 9, and 10-2 come get remaked again.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
They'd be dumb not to move on to 16 at some point. They have so many other divisions.
Yeah.
They could definitely start.
They just need to break the divisions into smaller groups and just focus on each individual Final Fantasy respectfully. And like the big major group should focus on 16.
Yeah, they have their Division A on 7 though. They can't take them away from 7. Division B could probably start on 7, but then one of the division is strictly mobile game based, so they've really got to restructure again. Unfortunately, they just restructured Square Enix not too long ago, but because Kingdom Hearts whatever is also got to be in the slate at some point, although 3 took forever, so it's not like we're not used to waiting.
Right. Oh my God, that was another problem with Kingdom Hearts, but that's the topic for another story.
Okay, back to the job classes. what's really cool is that they kept, after 5, they kept with the AP system, where the job classes got their own skills by experience based. What is really interesting is Final Fantasy 12 and the Tactics e-release way of handling job systems. The judge points, that was an interesting twist to the AP system. Have you ever played 12 or Tactics?
I haven't played. I played 12, and I will replay it again eventually. It's just that I got stuck in that Ice Frost summon, and I just never played the game again. I just cried.
Well, I was like, just doing the Zodiac Age, and the reason why I say that is they really vamped the job system in that one. The original 12 that we got in the PlayStation 2, the license board was... I kind of missed that license board over the new one, but your job classes weren't as versatile, and you could only have one job class, where with the Zodiac Age, you could have 2 on one character. So that opens up a lot of different abilities, and you could pair up 2 job classes that are either complete opposite from each other, or ones that complement each other with skills and armor and assets. So there's so many different ways of playing 12 now with the Zodiac Age because of the way that you could utilize the new job system in it.
Right. That makes the game much more quicker, more efficient.
And replayable.
And replayable, yes. Because when I was playing it, my first run of it, which I wasn't that much far into the game, because like people always say, oh, okay, it's a good game.
Give it a try.
But Jesus Christ, like people were just dying left and right. And
oh my goodness, yes.
I couldn't handle it no more. I didn't even know who the main character was.
That's the problem with 12. Vaughn is not really was supposed to be the main character. It was supposed to be Bosch, but they found Bosch was too old for the market, so they had to introduce a younger, sexier looking character. So that's Vaughn. Let's just say Belfier. He is always the leading man.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Take a look here. I think my first real experience with the job class system, although I say 5 is my favorite, it's not my first. Besides Final Fantasy 1, that's a very bare bone job class system, just a basic introduction, if you will. But the most versatile job system that I was introduced to was actually Final Fantasy Tactics, and though we'll talk mostly mainline here, I think Tactics needs a mention because it was out, I believe, before 12. Correct me, guys, in the comments below if I'm wrong. And it had so many job classes to pick from, and just your ability to grow your character, and you had a party of anywhere from like 5+ characters that can all be either the same job class, different job classes. They could have like 1, 2, 3 star already, and then once it hits a certain point, that class becomes a job. It was very, very thick with the job system in that one.
Well, Tactics was basically a strategy RPG.
It was,
so
yeah.
It made beautiful sense to have different types of jobs, and also maybe having 2 of the same job, because when you're fighting like a group of monsters, for instance, if you do like 2 or 3 monsters, then you would want to be like, okay, what am I gonna do here? Because sometimes some monsters are very smart. They do certain moves that like stack, and you'd be like, damn, I need a healer. I need a black mage. I also need a tank to take the damage, the physical damage, while my white mage,
or a blue mage or something.
A blue mage, while my white mage heals me while also using offensive magic to attack. It's like it's like a war.
Yeah.
It's like you're out there fighting a war, and you have to be you are the tactician.
Yeah.
So it's amazing, and that game has a lot of fans. Like,
yes,
Tactics was a great game, and I unfortunately never played it, but I've heard so much good things about it. And it was before my time when I started playing Final Fantasy, so I couldn't officially get into it because I was really bad at strategy. but it's got
a really good story, and if you want to know more about e-release, Tactics is really where it's at. 12 is in Eve-Release. It's a part of the Tactics universe. And even Final Fantasy XIV is part of Eve-Release. Damaska is in Final Fantasy XIV. Like, we're just on another continent. Yeah, we're on another continent.
Eve-Release is huge, you know, and that's crazy. I'm like, it makes Vana'diel look small, and Vana'diel was my favorite world. Like, it was Final Fantasy 11, so to see Eve-Release get like a lot of places and Tactics being part of that world now makes me want to play it more, because I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that. You know, so I learned something new today, so I'm like, I gotta try to play Tactics at some point.
Yeah, well, Eve-Release isn't the world, it's the continent, right?
It's
the continent. So, Erosia is also a continent, and then you go to Ishgard, which is also another. So the world is almost like doubled in size since Tactics. Like, they've introduced so many of the Final Fantasy mainlines in a offshoot game. Like, Final Fantasy Tactics is not a mainline, yet look at how much of it has influenced not only the job system, but the other mainlines with that as well. So it's pretty cool that it just stabilizes that job system in these mainline Final Fantasies.
Yes, it does, and that's something that I gotta really look into, because learning all these things from Tactics on, whew, I gotta start playing more games.
Dang it, we need more time for gaming.
We need more time for gaming, people.
One thing that was really interesting about Final Fantasy X-2 is the introduction of new job classes. Not your standard basic job classes that you saw in 5 or 3 or even in Tactics. And I think the most hardest one to get, but the most cutest, was the oh, what is it? Not the Moogle one. What's the Moogle one with the there's Tonberry, Moogle, and Cat Sith.
Cat Sith, yeah, Moogle and Tonberry. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I had the name of the Dressifier. Mascot.
The mascot one.
Mascot Dressifier. Oh my goodness. I was platinuming the game and I'm like, I've done everything. Where's my Dressifier? So I had to do the Albed tournament on the Shinra Saphir grid thingy. So I'm like, I finally got it. But that thing can kick butt.
It does. It could kick butt. And yeah, I never really got that Dressifier. I told myself, I was like, it doesn't look that foamy. Like I was more into like the scary looking ones, like Dark Knight, and I enjoyed the song Dressifier. I don't know why. I was a fan of like buffing my party.
Yeah.
So,
see, I'm more of a tanky player, so I like the Berserker. I like the Samurai. I did like the Dark Knight a lot. And I didn't know much about the Psychic Dressifier until I needed to start using it to defeat Tremel. Like, then that Dressifier became like my go-to Dressifier.
Right. There's a lot of amazing Dressifiers in it. But my go-to was the Dark Knight. But when I was fighting Shuyin, I kept on using like the Dark Knight, and I'll try to go for my ultimate Dressifier, but you gotta go to freaking a lot.
Yeah. To
go switch from one job to another job to another job to another job just to hit that ultimate Dressifier.
It depends on which garment grid you use, though. Some garment grid only has 2 nodes. They have all up to like 7 nodes with different buff statuses. So not only were you playing your job system in 10.2, you're also playing a garment grid that would give you extra abilities or buffs above your job class. So the different systems that they come up with to play with the job systems have been very vast and amazing. So whatever they want to do with this job system in the future, it could become very, very interesting.
Bring back the Dressifiers for Final Fantasy X-3, if that's ever going to happen.
Do you see Titus doing a Dressifier change, though? Because that was basically very good for that female group. I don't know.
I think it could work. I mean, I love the garment grid / Dressifier, so I don't see a problem with it. I mean, yeah, there are fans that are gonna be like, "Ew, no, the Titus can't be changing in the middle of battle. Look at his 6-pack. Oh man."
I actually prefer the Saphir Grid. If we're gonna go back to another 10 game, I don't really want to see the job system in it. I want to go back to the Saphir Grid.
But that's the dilemma though, because who's gonna be the main character in 10-3 though? Because now you have two. You already.
Yeah.
It's a topic for another day because we're moving but that's a good topic to talk about for next.
Because I've got an idea for that too, of how they would do that game, and it's very much like Kingdom Hearts for splitting the story between two characters.
That's actually a pretty good idea, guys. If you guys want us to talk about Final Fantasy 10-3 possible sequel to the Final Fantasy X series, let us know. Or prequel. It could be a prequel. We would never know. We'd like to see some of Titus's life.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We all know what happens to him if they go with the audio drama though.
Yes. It will be crazy. But let us know down in the description, guys.
Please do, leave us some comments. Please leave us a comment on what your favorite job class is or higher job rank. If any of you guys play Final Fantasy 14 or Final Fantasy 11, what's your main? Tell us your main. Mine is a paladin, and I second a white mage. Gotta be supporting my pals.
I'm a corsair, because I like pirates and I like bards. So
and that would be an 11 because we don't have corsairs in. Yeah.
They don't have corsairs in 14. I cried. That's the reason why I gave up 14.
Can you explain what a corsair is? Because that isn't a common job class in Final Fantasy. So if people are only aware of like your base job classes, can you describe what that job class is?
Definitely. Corsair is when you label Corsair is a DD / support job.
So like
primarily
a DP or
it's like a bard that can attack.
Okay.
Pretty much. So your range, it's mixed. It's like three things. You're a range fighter, primarily, but you can use swords and daggers.
Nice.
And then you have something called the Phantom roll, where basically you're rolling up a die, and then you have a number from 1 to 6.
Ooh, nice.
No. Yeah, 1 to 6. And basically, the certain roles have certain abilities for certain jobs. So, for example, Warlock's role will be for Red Mage. So, it will be like, let's say, example, the lucky number is 3. So, you want to roll a 3. If you don't roll a 3 and you roll like the unlucky, which is what's double of 3, which will be 9, that will be the unlucky number.
Double of 3 is 6.
I mean, triple. I'm sorry. So it'll be 9.
It's mathing tonight.
It's mathing tonight. So it'll be pretty much the unlucky number. What you want to roll is the maximum number, which is 11. Mm-hmm. That's the superior number for all rolls.
Nice.
But each roll has a lucky number, each has an unlucky number, and each has the max number, which is 11, which boosts times 2.
Sounds like a lot of D&D.
It kind of a little bit is. Also, you also have elemental attacks, elemental shots, which you shoot like fire shot, wind shot, and you shoot with your gun.
Sounds a lot like a bard mixed red mage kind of job class.
Bard, a little bit of red mage, and a little bit of it's a little bit of everything. It's a really good job. I loved it. I played it for so long. But that's my number 1 job. My number 2 job would be Puppet Master, which is another abnormal job that you don't really see in the original Final Fantasy series, which is basically you with a little automaton, and you basically control these puppets using certain maneuvers, fire maneuver, ice maneuver, and you make him, and he does his own thing. He attacks, he could be, this is what happens. He can change jobs. You can switch a headpiece, you switch the headpiece, and he can basically be a black mage, a red mage, a white mage, a tank, or range DD. So you could be all those jobs if you just change the frames and whatever job you want him as, he could be. So Puppet Master is a really unique job. At first, it was Laugh Out Loud Pup, which means when you have a Laugh Out Loud job name next to it, that means the job is horrible. No one plays it.
Nobody wants it.
No one wants it. It was kind of similar to Dragoon when it first started.
I like Dragoon.
Dragoon was great. Yeah, it was a great job.
It's one of my favorite DPSs that I do in 14. I like Dragoon and Ranger.
Dragoon and Ranger stories were amazing in 14. I love Dragoon's story. It was so like awesome, and it's so like so
Turning
beautiful.
into a ninja.
Turning into a ninja.
Ninja, and the little rabbit that you could get on your head if you do your spell wrong as a ninja or your cast.
Oh my god, yeah, it's amazing. And Ninja is an amazing job. I might go back to 14. I just need some friends. If anybody want to be my friend, leave a comment down below, and I could probably reassign myself.
Well, Ransic, I'll let you know what server I'm on if you ever want to join. I'm trying to play at least once a week if I can get on, but...
Definitely would love to play. I'll play with FFAN. He's awesome.
There you go, guys. Got another one for the class. I'll get you into Vitz's group here. So yeah, we've seen a different rendition of the job class system within Final Fantasy 13. Now this was non-traditional names for the job classes. You had Commander, Sentinel, you had a Ranger, which wasn't as a range attack person. It was really like more black magic. It was weird, and most of the characters were kind of pigeonholed into 3 class types throughout the beginning of the linear part of the game, and then once you were able to get to Grand Pulse and venture out, you were so invested in those 3 job classes for your guys, like a medic or whatever, that it didn't really benefit you unless you were grinding hardcore to get the rest. So they kind of did the same thing in 10-2, but they really opened it up in Lightning Returns, where the traditional job classes came back. And it was just Lightning, so she just changed an outfit. Now she's a blue mage, she's a paladin, she's a... and I kind of enjoyed Lightning Returns because of that more classic job system. Don't get me wrong, 13's still good, but yeah, Lightning Returns really calls back to the older classes. So you said, Ransic, that you weren't too familiar with the 13 job class system.
Well, I played 13, and I know those original job classes. I just never really ventured too far further in the game where you can switch to different new jobs.
Yeah, they kind of unlock later. They kind of really pigeonhole you. And to me, that's not really a job system until it opens up.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my god, like I'm stuck with Commandant or Ranger, which was weird because I had Hope as like a Ranger. He was using black magic, and he's trying to stagger the enemy.
Yes.
And I'm staggering as much as I can, and I'm trying to kill this thing, and I'm still not doing as much damage as I thought I was doing. So I'm like, OMG, like I'm gonna die. But then I started getting, like, I started to, like, see the 3 jobs, and I'm like, oh, okay, Commandment, it's not that bad. And Sentinel, I think I put Sentinel for, I did it for Lightning, actually. Oh. I did it for Lightning. I wanted it to, a little bit tanky with
I
Lightning.
loved her as Commander, because that is the tank class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was Commander, my bad. So
yeah, Sentinel was more like Fang or Snow. Was a better Sentinel. Yeah. So
yeah, Snow I did put as Sentinel. Yeah. But I didn't like Snow as much, so I just
he reminded me of Zell quite a bit.
Well, Zell was actually more cooler. I don't know. Zell was my man. I don't know about Snow. Snow, like he Zell with a cap on. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed the system a little bit. For what it was.
I think the best thing that came out of that system and utilizing those job classes was how to stagger the enemy, right?
Yeah.
Because you had to use those job, and you could switch, like in 10-2, you could switch to your 3 job classes. Now you had to set them up first to do a paradigm shift, or else you wouldn't be able to do the paradigm shift. So there was more micromanaging than you would have in 10-2. But the stagger system, which actually they're bringing back in 7, which was quite amazing to see that they're bringing back staggering in 7R. So now you have to utilize the base job systems of like the 7 characters and switch out party members, not your job, to determine what's best to stagger the enemies. So it's almost like, yeah, you're stuck with your job class, but how do you utilize the job classes you have in your party to stagger this enemy?
Right. And it's interesting because when you talk about stagger, and I'm like, staggering, it was amazing when they introduced it.
I found it the funnest part of 13 was trying to stagger an enemy.
I'm like, he's staggered, okay.
And utilizing those job classes for the best, like, 'cause certain enemies would only stagger if you used, like, lightning on them and then a physical to slow down the stagger bar. So you'd have to switch your job class to not only do quick light magic attacks, but then the stagger bar would soon, like, deplete quicker. So you had to hit with a physical, so you had to have a commander on.
Right.
So would you like to see something like, if we do have a job class system in, like, say, Final Fantasy 16 or 17, I think they should still use that staggering mechanic.
I think so too, because a lot of other games are using stagger now these days.
It seems to be more popular. Like 13 kind of brought it in, and then now it seems a little bit more of the norm.
Yeah, it's been like the norm now, because I see other games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, for example, for the Nintendo Switch. They have like these little stagger bars, this blue bar. You knock the enemy out, and you knock that blue bar out, he's staggered for a couple of seconds.
Well, even 15 had stagger too.
Yeah, 15 did have stagger, but the stagger wasn't. I mean, it was pretty decent, long, not that long, but it was decent. But yeah, staggering is something important in video games now, and that's like something that they created. That Square Enix created. They're like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this new thing. A lot of fans, some fans probably don't like it. They're like, oh, I like the old school, like wait time, or like turn-based, like oh, you hit me, I hit you, you hit me, or I can increase my chances of me hitting you a couple of times by using haste, because I get 3 extra turns because I got haste on.
Speaking about that real time, like with the job class system, it definitely utilizes the active wait battle system with it. So not only are you utilizing a job system for how you fight, but do you see it really going for the more active, working well with the active system? Because you're going to have to take time to change. You're going to have to take time to figure out what abilities to use. And more of the games are going like, no, I want mine to be more actiony, to be more quick. So does that hurt future usage of the job class system?
I believe so. Yes, it does, because people these days want, like you said, one more action, more fast pace. The stagger bar does increase, a little bit. Oh, it basically, when you attack, you stagger the enemy, and then you can still do certain things, like what they're gonna do with 7. Yeah. They're gonna make you do.
But you're not changing job classes in 7, so there's not that waste of time to switch.
Right. There's no waste of time. If we had stagger, and then you have the wait time as well, where you could probably change jobs and mid-battle for, like, example, 10-2 as well. Like, you could just change and have that wait system where you transform and, get a new job and you come out of nowhere. As an old school fan, I would like that. As a realist, I wouldn't want that, because then, like you said, I want action. I want it to be always there. And doing that wait time is just like, hello, I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Boom, we're back to action. That's a long wait. Yeah.
So the only other way to go about that then is to only allow job class changes outside of battle. Then, like, you have to go in the battle with the job class you want to do, and you will not have time to switch. So then you don't lose the momentum of the fight. But then now it's more micromanaging of more jobs. That job needs AP. It's more grinding. So job class system is amazing. I'd really like to see a mainline have it again, but there is a lot of drawbacks with it. The extra grinding, the extra things to learn skills, and is there cross skill, like now that I'm thinking of it, the only best way to utilize cross skills is if, say, my character has a main class, let's say Paladin, and then I'm able to add like a white mage or black mage subclass, but only like grab the abilities but still be a Paladin with white mage and black mage abilities, because I've got those other job classes leveled to a point where I could almost like have them as an equip rather than a class change. Do you kind of get where I'm going?
I get what you're going. It's similar to what 14 does with their class system. When they switch, when they do the when you learn a certain amount of skills at a certain class, and then you switch to a job, and the job can learn those abilities, but you already mastered them, so you already have them now, and now you're getting new abilities on top of that.
Yeah,
so it's always crossing. And I wanted to go back to the the wait time and and playing going against free when you're battling normally when you want more action. The reason why I think Square Enix decided to do this is because everyone's attention span is shorter these days.
Yep.
So if you have all this wait time, you're gonna bore people. Like, you think people could play Final Fantasy VIII Remastered in this generation? Some people will still probably be like, "This is too slow for me."
It's sad enough when 3 times the speed in 8 feels better than the original speed, and I'm like, this is bad. I'm actually enjoying playing Final Fantasy VIII at 3 times the speed. I should. Yeah. I love it. It's my favorite. But turning 3 times the speed off and then playing it, it's like, oh my goodness, Squall, run.
Like, run for your... Exactly. So think about that and now. So if they ever create Final Fantasy 16, which I hope soon, probably for PS5, they need to make the game always quicker. That's why they do it Final Fantasy 7 remake that way. They're making it based on like live action, up front. Yes, there's a stagger. Yeah. There's a small wait because you're trying to change. You're trying to do a certain move, like a magic move. Yeah. And it benefits. So I'm curious to see what this new system that they created with a mixture of a couple of things together is going to be in 7.
Yeah, I can only see in the future it being more of a hybrid system. Not going back to that classic job system unless it's a spin-off. Final Fantasies can utilize the classic job system. Besides that, and MMOs like 14 where they can really utilize most of the classic version of the job systems with a little bit of live action. Mainline Final Fantasies, I can see... doing more of a hybrid where you have your main class, but that main class can have access to skills or abilities from almost like learned traits rather than learned job classes. Like, you could study in the art of white mage magic, but you're really a bard, but it's almost like extracurricular learning rather than this is my job.
Right. But totally agree.
We'll have to see where the future comes with Final Fantasy 16 and what we're going to get with that beauty. As for now, 7's looking great with they're just keeping their classic jobs per character. That's what they are. That's more of a set-based job system. As for if you guys want to find out more about the job system, there's an excellent wiki that has a lot of information from fans and play some of these games. Like I said, Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 3, 5, 10-2, 11's not available anymore, correct? They've shut down those servers. You have 11 only for PC. Okay.
If you want to play 11, they have PC available. You could create. I just gotta somehow have to call them. You have to call their customer service number and try to get a contact ID. But you can still play. Doing that. Still. And the game is so much easier, guys. 11 is they made it so baby-like that I don't even play no more.
Did they take the death level down thing out? Where you penalized you if you died?
I mean, they still have that, but basically, you barely die. It's hard to die in that game now. It's like, you have so much help, so much, like, powerful gear. Okay. It's ridiculous how 11 is.
It's basically at end generation for it, so they just maxed it out for.
They maxed it out because they're not going to increase the game no more. Yeah. The game is done. It's basically RIP to the real original fans of the old school dying 10,000 times a day type of thing. Yeah. But 14's great.
14's amazing. Yeah. And if you guys want to try something odd and weird and you want to get into a steampunk kind of game, check out 13 and 13-2. Lightning Returns to me was amazing, but you need a strategy guide for it. Don't play Lightning Returns without a strategy guide, people. Don't do it.
I'm advocating a new game that I just created in my head. It's not really new, but if you guys want to ever see a Parasite Eve online, I think that'd be great. You know, living in the world of New York City at that time, 1997.
I'd like them to just do a remaster, but that would be something we could definitely go in length about in another podcast. If you guys like to hear about Parasite Eve and Parasite Eve 2, I know more of 1 than I do of 2 because I haven't really played 2. You guys like third-person shooter, horror / New York 1997-ish range. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Classic Square Enix PS1 goodness. Check out Parasite Eve.
I can't wait for a remake.
I just want like a bundle remastered version of Parasite Eve 1 and 2 on both PS4, Switch, and Xbox and PC. That would be amazing.
Definitely. I could see myself, you know, being with Ada once again, kicking butt, shooting parasites up and down.
Yeah. So if you guys would like, maybe for the next podcast, we'll do a non-Final Fantasy topic. Me and Ransic will discuss that and see if we can do a different game genre or a different discussion. If you guys have any ideas of what you'd like us to talk about, and if we have knowledge on it, just leave us a comment below. We'll be able to see if it can be talked about or not. If we have no knowledge about it, it's a little harder to make a podcast on it, so...
Definitely. It might be. We're going to have to do much more homework on that one.
Yeah. But as for the job class system, I think it's one of the best systems that Square has come out with in their Final Fantasy. It's a staple since the beginning, and they're just finding new and amazing ways to revamp this job system. And look at how many amazing different type of jobs we've gotten throughout the years. Beastmaster, Blue Mage, Red Mage, Pugilist, and all these great jobs that just keep getting more and more authentic. And like, look at the outfits that you get with some of these. It's just amazing.
Definitely, especially Beastmaster. Beastmaster, it was amazing in 11, and it was the best solo job in the game. Mm-hmm. So to see all these jobs come to life, and you know, in certain aspects, like, oh my god, Beastmaster, I could use Beastmaster. Corsair was my favorite. Black Mage, mm-hmm. Red Mage. I'm just waiting for more jobs, maybe some newer jobs to come out.
And
I can't
14, wait. I know a lot of people want that Cortage 1 in 14, so maybe if there's enough squeaky wheels, the next expansion we might see it. Who knows? We finally got Gunblades in, sorry, not Gunmage, we had Gunmage before, but Gunblades in 14, and I'm gotta really level up that class because, again, Final Fantasy 8. One of my favorites, so...
Quick comment note, guys. Who had the better Gunblade? Let's talk. Comments down below. Squall or Lightning? It had to be Squall.
Squall had the better Gunblade.
Lightning. Yeah, because Lightning can her bootleg Lightning. Yeah, her bootleg Lightning Blade. I was like, get out of here with that Lightning Blade. I think
the Switch Knife version of the Gunblade, steampunky, yes, great. Lightning could whip that thing out, whip it back, but there's nothing like a classic Gunblade. Revolver.
I even think Noctis is. I mean, he doesn't have a Gunblade, but
he's got an engine blade. It's got mechanical aspects, but it doesn't really shoot anything. It's mechanical.
It's mechanical.
Yeah.
But definitely Squall, hands down.
Yeah. All right, guys. Give us your opinion. What's your favorite job class? Would you like to see a revamped or reuse of the job class system in future Final Fantasies? What was your favorite Final Fantasy that utilized the job class system? Please leave a comment below. We'd like to hear from you guys. This has been FFAN 16 and Ransic here with you guys tonight with this podcast on the job class system. Any final words, Ransic?
Not many final words. Just keep on playing some Final Fantasy and make people proud.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Like, sub, leave a comment, hit that notification bell so you can be up to date with any new content that hits the channel. And as always, guys, happy gaming!